2023 Mercedes EQS SUV First Look, Electric Big Boy. The first all-electric SUV from Mercedes is a 3-row. The wait is finally over. The first all-electric SUV from Mercedes in the US will be a 3-row with space for up to 7 passengers. The 2023 Mercedes EQS SUV will be the electric equivalent of the GLS, and it will be the flagship crossover once it arrives at US dealers at the end of this year. After ditching its initial plans to launch the EQC SUV, a compact crossover, Mercedes opted to electrify its biggest models first. The 2023 Mercedes EQS SUV will be a direct competitor to the Tesla Model X, and although final range estimates for North America are not out yet, buyers will choose between rear-drive and all-wheel drive variants. Getting cues from the EQS. If you're still confused about the naming strategy for the EQ models, you're not alone. The S in the EQS means it's the flagship model, like the S-Class and GLS. Further complicating its nomenclature, there is an EQS sedan, an EQS SUV, and other similarly named models, EQE sedan and EQE SUV, etc. Clear as mud? Good. Like the EQS sedan, the EQS SUV gets a weird, ugly, front end. The nose is distinguished by a black trim piece that houses a big Mercedes logo front and center, while smaller three-pointed stars populate the rest of the black trim. The front fascia adds sportiness by mixing air vents and black details, and the headlights extend back toward the A-pillars to finish the swoopy look. Besides the 20-inch dual-tone wheels that stand out, the EQS SUV gets more black trim surrounding the wheel wells to enhance its proportions. Out back, a single-piece LED taillight connects both rear corners, and all along the body we see swift character lines that enable Mercedes' progressive luxury design philosophy. Compared to the GLS, the EQS SUV has a longer wheelbase but is lower, narrower, and shorter overall. Its long wheelbase, low stance, and short overhangs give the EQS SUV a wagon-ish look, but that translates to a tight third row. It's all about the interior. The dazzling hyperscreen, which covers 56 inches of real estate from the driver's dashboard to the front passengers, has that wow factor. It's optional in the EQS 450 Plus SUV, but standard in the EQS 584 4MATIC SUV. While the hyperscreen makes a good initial impression, its functionality is questionable. Although in Europe the passenger's screen can play movies when there's a seated front passenger, this feature is not available in North America. Overall, the cabin takes a page from the EQS sedan. The thin air vents are well integrated in the dashboard, and the use of ambient lighting makes you feel special when driving at night. For the first time in a Mercedes, we see a bunch of small three-pointed stars printed on the center console's wood cover. We prefer the clean look over the logos, as that's a bit too many stars for us. Front seats with massage are also available. Three-pointed stars galore on the EQS SUV's center console. Despite all of the nice amenities that the front seats have, it's the second row where you'll really want to spend time in. An optional rear seat entertainment package brings individual screens to the back of the front headrests, and a center console will let you change radio stations and the like from the second row. While we haven't had a chance to sit in the interior, we expect the quality of materials to be top-notch, though we'll reserve our final judgment until we get our hands on one. Still, every row gets quilted leather seats and the first and second rows get pillows on the headrests. One place you'd probably want to stay away from is the third row. From the pictures provided by Mercedes, it looks like only children will be able to sit there, as the seats are closer to the floor and legroom is compromised. But fold the second and third rows, and a full flat floor will allow you to fit larger items. Range, charging and other stuff. Mercedes hasn't confirmed the range for the 2023 EQS SUV in North America, but it said the battery allows travel over 370 miles on a single charge, based on the WLTP European cycle. With those numbers in mind, we expect the US version will deliver between 320 and 350 miles of range, which is pretty good for a 3-row SUV. Charging the EQS SUV's lithium-ion battery from 10 to 80% on a DC fast charger will take 31 minutes, as it has a maximum charging capacity of 200 kilowatts. That number is not bad given the vehicle's size, and would give plenty of time for a family to use the restroom and take a break from driving on a long road trip. With the Mercedes Me Charge program, owners will be able to plug and charge without taking out a credit card at participating public charging stations. If you plan on doing most of your charging at home, expect a little over 11 hours for a full battery on a 240V outlet. As with the sedan, the EQS SUV arrives with standard rear-wheel drive and optional all-wheel drive. The EQS 450 Plus SUV delivers 355 HP and 419 lb-ft of torque thanks to its 265 kW electric motor mounted on the rear axle. The EQS 584 4MATIC SUV ups those numbers to 536 HP and 633 lb-ft of torque, with one motor mounted on each axle, delivering 400 kilowatts of total output. Although the EQS is a relatively large SUV, the rear wheels can steer up to 10 degrees, making its turning radius quicker. Top speed or 0 to 60 miles per hour estimates haven't been shared, but expect the 580 model to be way quicker than the 450 Plus. Ride quality should be exceptionally nice thanks to a 4-link axle front suspension and an independent rear suspension. Air suspension is standard, and the 2023 Mercedes EQS SUV will raise or lower itself depending on what driving mode is engaged: Eco, Comfort, Sport, Individual and an off-road mode for the 580 model. When is the EQS SUV coming? The 2023 Mercedes EQS SUV will arrive in the US by the end of this year. Prices will be announced closer to an on-sale date, but expect them to start north of $103,000, which is the starting price for the EQS sedan.